Hello, Hasser from Hasser Reviews is here, and, well, let's get started. So I'm sure a lot of you may remember if you watched my Godzilla vs. Kong review that I stated I'm not really particularly a fan of monster movies. Well, I don't really see them as much. I like them, but they're not my main genre. However, as you all know, the two titans of monster movies are Godzilla and King Kong. I've always been sort of more interested in King Kong, well, in terms of who I like more. I like Godzilla, but it seems to be that, in my view, King Kong movies seem to be reviewed a lot better than Godzilla movies. And considering how I felt with the 1998 Godzilla film, yeah. But with that said, today we are reviewing Peter Jackson's King Kong. Another request, one I've been aiming to get to, so here we go. So let me start by saying I don't watch. Peter Jackson's one of those filmmakers I like, but I don't watch too many of his movies. In fact, I haven't really watched all of the Lord of the Rings films. Like, I've seen a bit of, seen most. I saw Fellowship of the King, but I didn't really watch too much of Twin Towers or Return of the King. I just with that said, I admire what he's done, and I've watched some of his other stuff as well, but strangely, he hasn't really been a filmmaker I tend to watch more. But if I'm going to watch anything else other than the Lord of the Rings films, it's got to be this. So why don't we start? So the story is basically the same as the original 1933 legendary film. An egotistical director who wants to create the perfect film takes his loyal crew on a ship all the way to this mysterious island called Skull Island, in hopes of making a good film. When they get attacked by a giant ape known as King Kong, he forms the bond with the romantic lead of the film, and well, it's up to the crew to catch the Kong and get her back, while the girl bonds with Kong. So yeah, same old story, but it works. It was a simple story in the 30s, and it's still simple enough that you can follow it. I appreciate that. I mean, when you look at some of the Godzilla films, it's very strange. I mean, taking the American ones to account, at the very least, not so much the Japan ones, but they are very complicated into what the motives of Godzilla is. In this case, with King Kong, King Kong, on the other hand, you get the motives of the monster, and it works. In fact, the visual effects. Now, of course, the original is going to be the most iconic. I mean, yes, it's dated, but the stop motion that they did for Kong and all the other stuff they did was impressive, and even to even now in 2022, you can admire what the technicalities they did for that film. It's something special. I appreciate I mean, yes, this is CGI, but the CG effects on Kong are pretty good. I can believe the emotions that King Kong goes through pretty well. Of course, nowadays, I mean, I think Godzilla vs. Kong trounces the CG done here, but for 2005, it looks pretty good. In fact, I argue the CGI used on Kong is a lot better than some of the anime movies that were released in 2005. Trust me. Compare the CGI on Kong to the entirety of Chicken Little, and you pretty much tell what's the best product. Matching the moments of the original film are pretty good. You've got your stuff on the boats, you've got the island, the native tribes on Skull Island, you've got obviously Kong, you've got the iconic scene where he climbs up the Empire State Building, all that. And it's matched pretty well to what we get. And we get a few new moments here and there, like the ice skating scene. I like the ice skating scene, even though it is strange. But and it's interesting that they use how they use the dialogue from the original film. Obviously, the premise, the reason why they go to Skull Island is to film a picture. So what they do is actually use the original dialogue from the original film as the dialogue they're going to shoot, that the characters have to say for the film they're making, that the characters are actually making. That's interesting. I find it pretty good idea. I like that. The performances are hit and miss. Naomi Watts is definitely the standout. She does a great job as the main lead. The side characters are pretty okay. But for the other two, I will say this: certain moments of Jack Black's performance as the director do make me chuckle, and some of his line deliveries are pretty good. However, others are a bit mixed with Black. This isn't one of his best performances. Yeah, and could have been better. However, Adrian Brody, on the other hand, is a little bit more boring. He's not the best. Yeah, I'm just saying that. And I like, at the very least, the crew aren't too much of the racial stereotypes that the original 30s film was like. That is definitely the most dated thing of the original film by far. But yeah. So with the other than the mixed appearance, my mixed source of Jack Black's performance and Adrian Brody's performance, what are my problems with this? Well, first off, the music. I can't be. The music does a good job. It's pretty good, but compared to the suspense in the original film, I feel like that left a bigger imprint. And I'm not saying that I'm expecting a bigger imprint from a remake, but I just kind of wish I want a bit more similar things. I just feel like the composer was trying to emulate, Lord of the Rings for Peter Jackson. I don't know. I'm just saying. And I think it's strange to say, but I think they could have spent a little bit more time on Skull Island. It's not as much time spent on it as say the original film. Very least it's better than Godzilla vs Kong. That was one of my problems with it, that we didn't get to spend too much time on Skull Island. And certain moments are a bit over the top, like when Jack Black is telling Adrian Brody the name of the island that they're going to. That is a bit over the top. And even then, the ice skating scene is a bit like that too. But I can give it a bit of a pass, because that's probably has the best bit of music in the whole film. Just saying. But with that said, I really recommend Peter Jackson's King Kong. It's a good film, good remake, and definitely one of the few Kong movies that people really do think is on par with the original film. And I agree, it's pretty good. It's all thumbs up for me. A 7 out of 10 has stars. It's a good film, well worth your time taking a look at. And I really give thanks to the fan who recommended I give it a watch. It was a fun time. I enjoyed a lot of it. Some things could have been a little better, but what can I say? It's a good movie. So what's next? Well, I'm going to actually do a video game review next week, and then I will review Lightyear when that gets released in theaters. Now, I might do something else in between. I'm not sure if I can get it done in time, but I will say this after. I am going to be going away on holiday for a bit, so after the Lightyear review, so I probably won't do a few video. There'll be a week where I don't do a video, just saying that, maybe two. I don't know. It just depends on how I feel when I get back. But like anything could happen. In the meantime, this is Hassa from Hassa Reviews out, and I shall see you for my next video. Ciao.